The biggest MMA debate of the day revolves around the UFC's apparent lack of star power. It began with boxing promoter Eddie Hearn igniting the debate on Ariel Helwani's show by asserting that he couldn't even name 6 UFC superstars at the moment, and drawing a bold line between MMA and boxing in terms of mainstream appeal. The MMA community responded, but interestingly, not all of them pushed back. Veteran analyst Luke Thomas actually sided with Hearn, pointing to a change in the way modern UFC fighters approach the sport. Thomas believes that too many fighters are playing it safe, chasing decisions rather than finishes, and choosing risk-free tactics over highlight reel moments. He maintained that although this conservative approach works, it is impeding the emergence of real superstars. With this discussion rapidly gaining traction in the MMA community, the focus is now on the UFC's future generation and whether anyone is prepared to stand out from the crowd. These are the same captivating knockout, hunting characters that previously propelled the UFC into popular culture.
Yeah, I mean, I think O'Malley is getting it not because of his privilege or whatever. I think that honestly, there's just really no other person that's, like I'm coming off a loss. Umar just fought for the belt, and then Jan is coming off still kind of a skid, and Jan already lost to Merab by like a pretty big margin. So I think that it's that. I think the way that the fight looks, in all honesty, is probably going to be pretty close to the same, but I'm definitely not going to count out O'Malley. I think that he's like a smart guy, and I think that he is going to make some corrections, and I'm sure that him losing that fight that way hopefully put a fire under his ass that he's going to need in order to win this next one. And yeah, I don't really know, but in all likelihood, it's probably going to look the exact same. Figgy's success is not going to come from wrestling because he's not a good enough wrestler. His striking is not like a point-based striking. I do well against those guys.
Henry Cejudo is giving the wrestling sensation a lot of credit as he predicts Bo Nickal's strengths before his most difficult test to date against Reiner Derriter. Henry senses elite pressure, as most do. Bo has incredible grapple control and a cool, collected style that overwhelms opponents, but the real question now is if he can compete with the world's best. Fans were discussing about his most recent bout with Paul Craig, and not always in a positive way. Bo opted to stay upright and outscored Craig over 3 rounds, demonstrating that Craig is not recognized for his striking. While that is impressive, for a newcomer to the MMA scene, supporters were hoping for a finish and a comprehensive beatdown. Rather, it was methodical, steady, and to some, unimpressive. The problem is that Bo's had the right attitude. He showed that he could keep up with the speed and didn't rush or make rookie blunders. The big tests, however, will come from the Whitakers, Izzies, and other guys who penalize hesitation and takedowns. He will eventually have to surpass that level. For the time being, the D. Ritter bout represents yet another challenge against.
And the problem is, I know he's already got a fight, but the next person I'd actually want to see Ian fight would be Joaquin Buckley. I actually think it would be a great matchup. I think it'd be an exciting fight. I think Buckley brings things that would create problems for Gary. Gary's going to create problems for Buckley. If you had to go off of, and this is why I said an either or, if I had to say, okay, well, Buckley's got to fight. He's going to be fighting Kamaru Usman, so, can't pick him, then I pick Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards is coming off of a loss, but stylistically, I think it's a fantastic matchup and one that could be very exciting.
This is getting kind of scary. This is proof that our minds think alike.
Oh, no.
Right here. No, I've looked at it the same way you did. Look, I'm not saying Joaquin Buckley. What I'm saying is I want to see him fight the winner of Buckley and Kamaru Usman. I'd like to see that because Kamaru Usman and him, they used to train together at Kill Cliff. They have a little bit of tit for tat going on.
During a wild night that descended into violence, Michael Bisping and his older brother Conrad became brutally out of control. When recalling the incident, Bisping didn't hold back. The tension between them had been building for years, and once alcohol entered the picture, the lid finally blew off. This wasn't just a heated argument, it turned brutal quickly. Bisping pushed to the limit, grabbed a bottle and smashed it over Conrad's head in a moment of blind rage, but Conrad wasn't fazed because he wasn't only bigger and heavier, but also a decorated grappler. As soon as the bottle shattered, he pounced, wrapping Bisping in a vicious choke and refusing to let go. The two were engaged in a primal brawl.
Now, my follow-up question was going to be, Shaq at the peak of his powers. I've heard the way you speak of Jon Jones. How would that have gone?
Not good.
Yeah, not if good. Shaq had gone evil too, because I think
Let me tell you my Jon Jones story.
Okay, please.
I'm at the Super Bowl, and he hits me so hard in the back, and I turn around. I was like, "Oh, hey, John, how you doing, buddy?" When this hit me so hard, "Hey, what else?" I was like, "Ah!" So now I'm in fight mode. I'm about to whoever it is, I'm swing, and I turned around, and it was John by himself. And I looked, and I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, John? How you doing, buddy?" He's like, "Hey, Shaq, I'm a big fan of you." But yeah, he is a mess.
Carlos Bautista is reprimanded by Stephen Wonderboy Thompson after the Brazilian narrowly lost to Ian Machado Guerreri. The experienced striker has put his name in the hat and demanded a fight with the Brazilian knockout artist, despite an exciting late push. Wonderboy kept it brief and straightforward. Even if Pates could have lost on the scorecards, he literally pleaded with Carlos to sign the contract. In the last round, he turned heads with his explosive style and outrageous power. Do you believe Wonderboy still has what it takes to take on a power puncher like Protez? A thrilling chess match between him and one of the most technically proficient stand-up fighters in UFC history would be an ideal test and a fan favorite matchup. Comment below.